Hi guys, it's Jennifer Dillon from Food Thinking with the fabulous Kristen Booker from Fashion Style Beauty.
Hello!
So today we're making one of Mark Bittman's recipes. He's one of my favorite home cooks. He had a column for a lot of years in the New York Times called The Minimalist, and now he has a new column called The Opinionator. On top of that, he has written some really, really famous and amazing cookbook tomes, and whenever I'm teaching somebody how to cook or talking to them about what cookbook you absolutely have to have, if you have to own one cookbook, the one cookbook that you should own is Mark Bittman's How to Cook Everything. And it literally has recipes for almost everything in it. Having said all of that, this recipe actually came off his current website rather than the cookbook, but I still stand by my previous statement. So what we're doing today is a soba noodle with asparagus, an edamame dish. You can serve it either as a cold salad, I brought it to a barbecue a few weeks ago, or you can eat it warm just as soon as it's done coming out of the pan. The great thing about this dish is that because everything in it is so hearty, it travels really well. And it'll last for a couple of days in your fridge without losing flavor and even texture for that matter. So what we have going on over here is we've got 2 tablespoons of oil in my wok that I love, heating up. And we have some asparagus. We have 1 bunch of asparagus that I cut into 2-inch pieces. This is a 1/2 cup of scallions. They're just red scallions, and I bought them instead of the green ones, honestly, because they're pretty. And why not have your food look pretty too? And then here is a 1.5 tablespoons of fresh garlic, fresh ginger. Again, like I've said before, if you guys really want to use paste, you totally can. It's just, I don't. So probably hear the oil crackling a little bit. You don't need it to be super, super, super hot, but a little heat on it's not bad. We're gonna cook the asparagus until they're tender, which these guys are not super big, so it really shouldn't take that long. Whenever I'm making asparagus, I'm a super big fan of keeping them crispy, as I've said before when we work with asparagus, but you can cook this, technically what the recipe says is to cook it until it's dry and starting to brown. I stopped the cooking process a little bit before that because I like them not quite so roasted tasty in this particular dish. Now I'm just going to add in the garlic and the ginger. Oh, sorry, and I also have a 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes in here. It's just going to give it a touchy heat. We're just going to mix this all up. Like with all of the Asian sort of influenced dishes that we do on for these meals, you can use a regular saucepan. You don't have to have a wok. The great thing about a wok though is that it helps to evenly distribute the weight, and you have also the advantage of shoving things up the side to cook things in the middle, which we'll get to because we're going to do homemade pad thai next week. How exciting is that?
Yum!
Which is awesome. So, like I said, we're just going to cook these until they're tender. It's going to take about 4 minutes. Asparagus and scallions and ginger and garlic are getting to be friends, and asparagus is getting tender. What you want to do in the meantime is put your soba noodles on. And soba noodles, even the dry ones like these aren't fresh, obviously. I bought them at the store. These are lotus root ones. Soba noodle is a general term for a noodle that is made with buckwheat. It can also have other things in it. My personal actual favorite soba is ones that have wild yam. I wasn't so lucky today. So it is sometimes when you go to the store. So these are actually even dry, only going to take about 4 minutes to cook. So I recommend putting them in right after your asparagus is really starting to get going. So our asparagus are, you can see from the color, they change a really beautiful color when they cook. They're nice and crispy still. Like I said, I'm not cooking them quite as dry as the recipe calls for because I prefer them as texture. The noodles are already done. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add our edamame beans, and these were frozen. These were not fresh. Some of them still have a little frost, but even so, they're going to cook through so quick that there's no need to like pre-cook them or really do anything more. You can just take them straight from the freezer if you want. And that was 2 cups of edamame beans. So we're going to stir these in really quick. Then we're going to come over here. Ooh, disaster! To our pasta pot. We're going to lift our pasta out. So keep it a little wet because we're going to use a little bit of the water to thicken up the sauce if we need to. Alright, let's stir this up really quick. Whoopsie. Try not to get totally excited, like I just did right there. At least not want not. 10-second rule. 10-second rule. This is just a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. That's it. Just 1/4 cup. This is where your salt's coming from. Okay. Then this is a 1/2 cup of Marin. Now we've talked about Marin before. There's basically 2 different Chinese cooking wines. The Shaoxing is the amber one, and this is the clear one. If you don't have Marin or have the access to Marin, one thing that you can do is you can substitute 2 tablespoons of honey and a 1/2 cup water for about the same effect. Then we're going to take a 1/2 cup, which is about a ladle full, but technically it's a 1/2 cup, of the pasta water. We're going to drizzle this over the top. And dinner is served. One lovely vegetable, noodle, vegan, delicious, healthy dish in less than 20 minutes. Alright guys, Jennifer Dillon from Food Thinking. See you next time. Tell me I did not just wink at the camera.
You did.